Hello and welcome to this training video. This is a training video about Tiger Software Suite 5, and in this video I specifically go through and explain the formatter settings which are within the drop down menu here, the text drop down menu here. You can see it's got formatter settings there, and then with the icon menu, let's just click off there. It's this one here, the first icon that you see on the left. Now, as you may know, I have done a couple of other videos about Tiger Software Suite 5, and to explain it very briefly, it is a piece of software which enables your Braille to be translated, or your text to be translated into Braille, and then that Braille can be sent to an embosser, and even graphics can be translated into something which can be embossed to make them tactile. But this video is specifically about the formatter settings. Now, the reason that the formatter settings are getting their own separate video is because this option is the most complicated part of the menu, and it's from this option, the formatter settings, control how your embossed document will look on the paper as it comes out your embosser. So let's click on it and then let's have a look. Okay, you have got three, within the formatter settings you have got three separate settings here. You've got language settings, Braille settings and document settings, and each of them are fairly complicated themselves. So first of all, let's go to the language settings. So this takes you through, and I'll just do it as it's got on the screen. You can choose your primary language, which obviously in the UK we should be doing English, British, but you can see all of the different languages that you can do there. And then the next option within the language settings is your primary Braille type. Now, do you want grade 1 uncontracted, or do you want grade 2 contracted, or do you want computer Braille? And you can see all the different options there. And then you can even choose a primary translatable font. Now, this is a font, I think that it will all be translated into it automatically unless you tell it otherwise. Other settings that you've got within this box, let's just get rid of that, are you can ask it not to translate any capitals, you can ask it to do jumbo Braille or micro Braille as well. And then down the bottom here, you can't do a secondary language. This may be because I've only got a trial copy of Tiger Software Suite 5, but we won't worry about that for now anyway. And then you've got the Tiger Software Suite display language. Obviously I'm English, so I want it in English, but you've got lots of different choices there if you're from another country. And then your final selection under the language settings is how you want the math Braille type. And there you go. There are your options there: Nemeth, UK math, French maths, and so on. You've got all of the options there on the screen in front of you. So that is the language settings. The Braille and ink settings, this is to do with how your how it's going to look on the document itself. So up here, first of all, you can ask it to preserve any italics in the text. You can preserve or keep any bold text. It can preserve the underline, and it can also keep hyphenated stuff as well. Then if your embosser has an ink attachment so that it can both emboss a document and also on the same piece of paper print out text, you've got some settings here under ink settings. You can overprint on the original text, or you can interline with the original text. So one of them will show the printed text above the Braille, the other one will show it, and it's slightly printed over the Braille itself. And then you've got what font and what font size you want your ink to be printed in. So that there is the Braille and ink settings, and then the document settings themselves. Now most of us are only going to have one printer, the printer setup option at the top, to choose from, one embosser to choose from. So but you may have access to other embossers, or you may have access to other standard printers there that you want to choose from. And then you've got here whether or not you want it to emboss, to only emboss, or emboss and ink, and that's not showing for me at the moment because I haven't got an embosser attached. Your next option here is paper size. Now obviously in the UK we tend to use A4 as the main paper size. We may at times use A3, but in America, for instance, they may want to use the legal paper size, which is like an A4 size, but you've got all of the different standard choices of paper size there for you. And then over here you've got, do you want it printing in portrait or landscape or inverse landscape? I've got no idea what inverse landscape is, I'm sorry. And the next options are for you to control your margins. That's just, those margins there are pretty standard. They're going to be the same margins that you would find on any Microsoft Word document unless you changed it. So they're pretty standard margin sizes there. And then the document settings themselves. Do you want to include headers and footers? Do you want to get rid of headers? Do you want to get rid of footers? Do you want to show any original page numbers? Do you want to print only odd page numbers? And do you want to rename the translated document? And down here you've got an option to simplify the document itself. Okay, so there are your three main settings within the formatter settings, and as I said, that is how your embosser makes the Braille look as it's coming out of the embosser. Now, to make it slightly more complicated is you can set up individual profiles. So for instance, if we go into language settings, if I have a couple of different students who are using Tiger Software Suite 5, then one of them I may want to do as grade 2 standard Braille, standard contracted, so I would select that, and I may want them to have the ink settings on, so that they have the Braille printed out and also the text printed out. And I could save that profile separately to another student who I would then set up within the language settings, who I would want it to print out as grade 1 uncontracted. So, and here we go, you do it here through adding a Tiger profile and then naming. You could either name, I mean, for instance, in that example I would maybe name the profile as the student that it applied to. So these formatter settings, there's a lot to them. They are complicated or powerful depending on which way you want to look at them. But as you can see, as you watch all the videos relating to the Tiger software suite that I've actually made, this is a pretty powerful piece of software which is very, very useful for people with visual impairment and making sure that they get access in the right way to documents basically. So thank you for watching.